Hi, I'm Al in SoCal, and I'm going to be reviewing the King 2. That's the trade name that they're using on this single-serve coffee maker. I have an interest in anything coffee, and when I saw this single-serve come up, I was very interested. First of all, the pod system has been around for actually quite a few years. In today's world, most of you are very familiar with the K capsules or the pods. And now the new machines like this, and it's been this way for a while, not only come with a K-cup adapter, so you can drop it in and then put your pods in, but if you're bold enough to use your own ground coffee, this machine and many others have a reusable stainless steel filter. You simply fill it with your coffee. You drop it in this case I took the top lid off. It has to go back on. And like so, and then you close the machine, and just like a pod, when you activate the machine, you get a single serve of coffee, except that it's your own coffee. So that's a big bargain, especially for me, and that's why I wanted to see the machine operate. So anyway, I'm going to brew coffee in this machine, and then I'm going to go over the points that I felt were really important. We do it in several ways. The most authentic is a type of pour over. It's done all over the country. We do it here at home, but we also use coffee makers. Here are my usual suspects. Of course, we have to have water. A typical American cup of coffee is a 6 ounce. 6 ounces is a cup of coffee. If you're using a percolator, a coffee machine, any type of coffee machine, I base everything on 6 fluid ounces of water per what I would call my preferred cup of coffee. Okay, so I'm going to take the pod adapter and put that, I'll put it here on top of my grinder. So I'm going to open up the back of the machine. I've measured out 6 ounces of water. I'm going to pour that into the machine. And then I'm just going to drop that. Let me put that out of frame here. Next, I'm going to take my cup. In this case, I'm using paper. I normally would never use paper. I normally use a porcelain or a glass mug or whatever. Contrary to what you might think, I like sugar in my coffee, and I will most normally, when I'm brewing, put the sugar in the carafe as the water passes into the carafe so we don't lose heat. It's just one less thing to do. I'm not sticking a spoon in there and losing some heat as I stir the metal spoon. Okay, for my coffee, if I'm doing 6 ounces, it's typically one very generous scoop, and then just to be careful, I'll grab about half a scoop more. And normally I don't spill it, but sort of working in close quarters here. So there's my coffee. By the way, you can always reduce the strength of a brewed coffee by adding more hot water. Just add a little hot water, and that'll bring it down if it's too strong. By the way, I almost forgot the controlling top, which centers the hot water as it comes down. I'm going to close my coffee. This, by the way, is a very fine grind, a typical and a very well-known brand of Brazilian ground coffee. Go to the side here. Down at the bottom, there's a button that shows coffee beans. I'm going to push that, and you'll see it's blinking right now. It's going to take a few minutes to bring this water up to what we would consider to be an ideal brewing temperature. You can hear, you may be able to hear the water is already reacting to the heating coils. proper brewing temperature for coffee, 195 degrees Fahrenheit to as high as 205 degrees Fahrenheit. This depends on the coffee. Some coffees brew best at a slightly lower temperature, some at a higher temperature, and then there are some other variables that go into it. Typically, when you buy a machine like this, you really don't want to have to deal with all of the tweaking. So it's more of an optimized machine. What impressed me about this machine is that it brews at a high temperature, and I like that. You can hear it boiling right now, and I'm going to venture to say any minute now the coffee's going to start coming through. There we go. So I can look at my coffee. Well, it's hard to show you, but even as it comes down, I can look at the stream and see how translucent it is. And then when it goes into the cup, I can usually, if I'm holding it at the right angle, I can tell if it's going to be brewed to my desired strength. Regardless of how one brews coffee, it should never be bitter. Bitter is either over roasted beans, water is too hot, you've brewed for too long. Part of the variables that go into making the kind of coffee you want to drink. The internal pump is still going. I would rather it take longer than less time, because the longer the water has to pour over, the more complete the transfer from the grounds holder into the cup will be all of the elements I want in my coffee. Okay, so the machine is finished brewing. It's still dripping a bit. I'm not going to wait for it to finish. The cup is nice and hot, and I'm going to take my stir stick. I keep wooden stir sticks when I'm brewing any of the espresso drinks. I'm going to just do a little sip. I want to see where this ended up on my scale. Smells pretty decent. Not bad. I would drink this in the morning, and it's got just the right amount of sweet to it with the sugar. So you've seen the machine brew. When you take the filter out, and you see it's dripping into the collection pan down there. So I've got a sink right here. I'm taking the top off. I don't want to throw grounds. These are very fine grounds. Typically the pod machines, they recommend you run a heavy ground coffee. You might do that if you're going to run an espresso blend, which get rid of the majority of the grounds, and that's a pretty complete dump of grounds, which I like. Okay. I'm going to rinse this. The other thing I would say, I also like the way this rinses clean. It really rinses clean. So with just a small amount of rinsing, I've got what I consider to be a very, very clean filter. Bottom line is, the coffee is hot, the coffee was brewed properly as far as I'm concerned, properly for me. Okay, so here we are in the third segment of this review. First of all, at the time of this review, $70. If you don't get the mug, you can deduct $10 off of the purchase. And that's on Amazon. You need to go to the King 2 store. If you don't want the mug, again, you won't get the green machine, you'll get a machine in red. Something to think about. So you go from 70 to 60, and now you're just getting the machine. Here's the important part. This machine comes with a 1-year warranty, and Amazon will provide you with 90 days of technical support for the machine. So if you have any issues in 90 days, get a hold of Amazon and they'll talk you through it. Well, now gets down to comparing to the market. Currently, you can get the leading manufacturers, the leading brands mini machine, which will do both pods and grounds. The machine by itself, currently, if you go online, it's $70, and they're actually throwing in some free pods and free shipping. So you've got $70 for the name brand, you've got $70 for this machine with this mug, okay, and this machine, 1-year warranty. So far it's neck and neck. I think, and I'm torn on this, I like the machine. You saw me brew coffee. I think it did a heck of a good job. The fact that it's nearly the same price as a leading brand is a little disconcerting. I personally am going to deduct 1 point for that. This will be a 4-star item. I like the machine. Again, I would have given it 5 stars. I'm just nicking it 1 star because of the price point issue. That's it for me.